Hey fish friends, Michael here. I'm going to show you how to set up a planted aquarium today. This is a relatively budget-friendly and simple design. I'll include links to all the materials you'll need if you're interested in doing something similar or even copying this exact layout. If you wanted to go even cheaper, you could buy a used setup or skip the CO2. Fluval Flex 15 is a 15-gallon or 57-liter aquarium that comes with a built-in filter and light. You'll need to buy a heater for it if you want to keep tropical fish. CO2 isn't necessary for having a planted tank, but it really helps with plant growth and helping keep algae at bay. So if you're interested in showcasing a lush underwater garden, then a CO2 system is really worth considering. That system includes a cylinder, regulator, solenoid, bubble counter, airline, diffuser, drop checker, and drop checker solution. Good substrate or soil is essential for growing plants because they contain all the nutrients they need to grow. There are many different types of planted aquarium soils out there, but you'll want to make sure to get soil, not gravel. Gravel is a bunch of little rocks and it doesn't contain any nutrients that the plants need to grow. If you have another aquarium, you can throw in some substrate or filter media from that tank or purchase some beneficial bacteria from any fish store. That'll help get the nitrogen cycle jump started. The nitrogen cycle is an important process where a new aquarium develops healthy microbial life that's essential for safely keeping fish. If you're not sure what the nitrogen cycle is and why it's so important to wait before stocking your tank with fish, then check out the video in the description. You can find some river rocks in nature or a landscaping store and give them a scrub so that they're nice and clean. Plants are what really make any aquarium come to life. They transform sterile glass boxes into lush, vibrant underwater gardens. They also help keep the water clean and give hiding spots for fish and shrimp. In my opinion, no aquarium is complete without live plants. First thing I'd recommend is figuring out a solution to keep your tank lit up so that you can have good light while working on your tank. I use some twine to tie mine up. Install all the components like the pump, heater, and filter media. Since I've lost my original filter media, it will look a little bit different than what's provided with the Fluval Flex. Pour in your substrate, smooth it out, and slope it up in the back right corner. Arrange the river rocks in a horseshoe pattern so that there's still plenty of space around and in between for plants. Then put the biologically active substrate from the old tank on top and spread it around. At this point, you'll need to start spraying every now and then so that the biologically active substrate doesn't dry out. Plants always need some sort of preparation prior to planting. Remove the materials that the plants have been growing in. It's usually going to be some sort of a clear gel or rock wool. In this case, I just removed a bunch of dead grass and root structure, then split them into little bunches. Time to start planting. I've taken a lot of plants from other tanks that I own, but I also went to my local fish store and got some dwarf hairgrass. This fern doesn't like to be planted in the substrate, so I just rested it on top and wedged it in place with a small rock. All the other plants have roots, so they'll need to be planted in the substrate. Use a pair of planting tweezers to grab them by the base of the root structure and push them under the soil so that all the roots are covered, but the rest of the plant is above the soil. Make sure to periodically spray down the plants as well. It's always good practice to place the tallest plants in the back and the shortest ones in the front. Now fill up the tank very slowly so that dirt and plants don't get kicked up everywhere. I use a hose to fill the tank from my faucet, but if you don't have one, gently pour water into the back chamber with the filter media. Last but not least, set up the CO2. Because the cylinder is filled to a high pressure, you'll need to screw on the regulator to bring the pressure down to a working level. Fill the bubble counter and then plumb the air line from the regulator to the diffuser and place the diffuser in front of the return pump so that CO2 gets distributed all around the tank. After filling the drop checker with solution, place that in the tank as well. Make sure to start very slowly when you open the valve to release CO2. The bubble counter for a tank this size should be pushing about 1 bubble per second. The easiest way to count that is to set your phone timer for 10 seconds and count the bubbles that appear during that period. Then divide by 10 to get the bubbles per second. It will take a couple of hours for the drop checker to reflect the CO2 value in your tank, so make sure to wait before making additional changes to your CO2 levels. Tinker with the rate until you get a lime green color in your drop checker. Blue or dark green means you need more, while yellow means you need to tone it back. Because you'll need to wait a month or so before adding fish, this is the perfect time to learn how to optimize your CO2. It's important to really dial it in right, because too much can suffocate your fish, shrimp, or even beneficial bacteria colonies. Set your lights to be on for 8 hours a day. Mine come on from 2 to 10 because I like to wash my fish at night. If you leave your lights on longer than that, you'll get bad algae outbreaks. Now set your CO2 to come on 1 hour before your aquarium lights, and so that they go off 1 hour before your lights turn off as well. I'd like to trim this grass here, but I'm going to wait a couple of weeks to give it a chance to root. If I start messing around with them now, I'll probably uproot everything. You can pretty much sit back and watch your tank for the next week. I'll be posting another video in a week so that you can follow along with the maintenance needed to keep your tank looking great. Thanks for watching. Please hit that like or sub button if you've enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.